the Honorable Marcos Crespo.
Buenas noches a todos. Good evening. Are you having a good time? Have you had a good conference? Are you enjoying yourselves? Are you ready for the lobster? Nah. I'll tell you what. We have had an amazing conference so far. We have had a great time bringing us to this point. We have enjoyed ourselves. We have had great conversations. We've had tremendous panels. We've had incredible ideas being shared. But ladies and gentlemen, there is still work to be done. Tonight, I just wanted to greet everyone and thank you for the support that you have given the Puerto Rican and Hispanic Task Force and the support that you give the Somos Conference as we move forward our agenda to assist Latino communities throughout this state. I must tell you that ultimately the purpose that we have set forward is to help our next generation, to ensure that we are able to provide scholarships to students that are deserving so that they can continue on a path to success. For those of you who don't know, because of your generosity, last year we were able to award well over $125,000 worth of scholarships to New York students. So if you're a sponsor, don't be shy. Sponsor again. We want to double that number. But the fact of the matter is that we, as a collective group of leaders, every single one of the members of the task force and every one of the board members of Somos looks forward to setting forth an agenda that can accomplish great things. We don't want to be a generation that continues to look to the future. The fact is that we have called this conference Somos el Futuro for far too long. The reason we have a theme, Somos Now, is that we are here. We have accomplished. We have tremendous leaders who are ready to lead our state forward. And so, ladies and gentlemen, let's start to refer to this conference as Somos Ahora, Somos Now, because I know that I'm ready and you're ready to move this agenda forward. A veces sueno bien como que estoy molesto. El problema es lo siguiente. El problema es que en nuestra comunidad a veces estamos muy cómodos hablando de las cosas, pero no exigiendo un cambio verdadero. Y lo que queremos es renovar las fuerzas que tenemos. Yo me paro en los hombros de gigantes que han abierto puertas para mí. I'll say that in English. I stand on the shoulders of giants who have come before me and opened doors of opportunity. Many of those giants are in this room tonight. Many of them are not elected officials. Many of them are unsung heroes in our community who hit the streets, who chained themselves to buildings, who did whatever it took to get the job done. I'm here to say thank you. Thank you for the opportunity you have given me to stand here before you at 34 years of age, only in my 6th year in the state legislature, to say that I am the chairman, not just of the Hispanic Task Force, but of the Bronx Democratic Party. Those accomplishments are not on their own. They're not my own merits. They are shared by many of you, and I want to thank you for that. And so, let me just say this. I want to introduce to you our first honoree of the night. He is someone who's no stranger to anyone in this room. He took the city by storm, bringing a discussion of change, a discussion of opportunity, and bringing to the forefront, not just in the city of New York, but throughout the state and in the country. Everyone has been talking about the issues of income inequality, because Mayor Bill de Blasio made it a point of conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, the mayor of the city of New York has been a champion for Latinos. If you look at his initiatives, if you look at his work for pre-K, universal pre-K for all students, and we look at the fact that the Latino population accounts for so many of those children, that was championing a Latino cause. If you look at the immigrant agenda that we so much have discussed, if you look at the fact that he ordered ICE to shut down their doors at Rikers Island so that we don't deport unnecessarily those that do not need to be separated from their families, he did that. When you look at the fact that at the state level we have failed to provide identification to so many New Yorkers who pay their taxes and contribute every day, But the mayor of the city of New York has delivered the municipal IDs, allowing families to come forward, to not be afraid, to enter their children's school buildings and be able to say, I am here. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome our first honoree to accept the Champion of Latinos Award, the Honorable Mayor Bill de Blasio.
Muchísimas gracias a todos. Buenas noches. Es un gran honor estar aquí con ustedes. It's especially an honor to be with the chair of Somos Ahora. See, I'm rebranding, brother. I'm with you. Somos Ahora. I love it. Assembly member Marcos Crespo, who is a real friend in this work, who is someone I honor because he showed from the very beginning what a young man of vision can do in public life, and his rise has been nothing less than meteoric because he earned it. And I am honored to address him as Bronx County Democratic Chairman as well. Congratulations, Mr. Chair. But it's not just his political achievements. He has stood up for all communities. He has stood up in particular for the Latino community and for immigrants. He has fought against the fraud that so often falls upon those who are trying to realize the American dream. And his actions have helped to protect people like so many members of our families who have tried to realize all the potential here. His actions have helped to protect them from those who would do them harm. Let's thank Chair Crespo for all he has done. Somos, as a conference, as an organization, is crucial to the dialogue in the state. Marcos spoke before about the need to talk about income inequality and make it an urgent, pressing issue all over this nation. Somos brings an urgent voice to actually addressing the issues of the Latino community that are too often swept under the rug. Somos demands of all levels of government a basic fairness that is supposed to comport with our values. We take that responsibility seriously in the city. You heard Marcos delineate some of the things we've worked on. Yes, they are for all people. And yes, they disproportionately help and benefit the Latino community, and I'm proud of that fact because that is an act of justice. A community growing in strength and importance, and a community that has often not gotten its fair share. And that is why we do so much of what we do to right those wrongs. And there is action we need to take in Albany. I imagine everyone in this room would agree with me. There is a wrong that needs to be righted in Albany for our young people who, because they ended up here in New York State, not their choice, they end up here in New York State, they want to offer their talents to our state and our country. They want to live an American dream others were allowed to live. We have to follow through for them. And so I dedicate to you that I will fight with you every step of the way, because ya es hora de que aprobemos el Dream Act de Nueva York. We are all immigrants. It is an American truism, and yet the policies don't reflect it. We actually need to build a society where everyone is honored regardless of where they come from. O el idioma que usted hable, regardless of the language you speak, regardless of where you come from, we need to build a society of true equality. That is what we fight for in common, and we have great allies. Some in the room tonight who have fought this fight with great distinction. Our U.S. Senator Chuck Schumer, who fights in Washington for us. Let's thank him. Our State Comptroller Tom DiNapoli, a force for justice in Albany. And a new ally, well, he's always been an ally, but he has a new title that makes him an even more powerful and high-impact ally for everything that this community needs. We have an Assembly Speaker who is standing up for us every single day. In Carl Hastie, we have someone who really gets the needs of this community and works for them incessantly and is already succeeding. If we are focused and serious about fighting inequality in all its forms, it's a never-ending fight. It means we do not let families get torn apart. It means we don't leave people in the shadows. When Marcos talked about the New York City ID card, that's about respecting every single one of our fellow New Yorkers. We owe them that respect so they can be part of our society. All of this is needed to create the kind of society that can function for everyone. But right now, so many people are left out. It's visible. It holds us back. It makes us less unified. I want to give you one example. One example that speaks to how much wrong we have to right. There's a young man named Alexis Guerrero. He came to the United States from Mexico with his grandmother. He was 8 years old. He is an American success story by any measure, a sophomore in high school in Queens, a youth leader, and he wants to become an engineer. He wants to do the thing we wish more young people would do and study math and science and do one of the things that will build this nation. But guess what? Because Alexis was born in Mexico, he lives with the understanding he will not be able to get the financial aid he needs to go to college. So this city, this state, this nation are deprived of his talent. That is an example of how a society that is not inclusive cannot succeed. Young people who would do so much for us held back. I know if we work together, we will pass the DREAM Act and we will right that wrong. I know because it's the right thing, because it makes sense, because all of these actions for equality and fairness make sense to the vast majority of people. The municipal ID card makes sense. Pre-K for all makes sense. The things that actually create opportunity. And with your help, we'll keep building on that tradition and giving opportunity to more and more people. I have to say one more thing, because there is a wrong that has to be righted, and it has to happen here in Albany. Because we know that more than any time in history, the economic destiny of all of our children will be determined by their level of education. That wasn't so true necessarily in the past, but today, your level of education will determine all your economic potential. And yet, so many children are left without the resources they need. And then somehow the children and families are attacked when they don't succeed educationally. They are doing all they should be doing. We need to invest in our children if we expect them to succeed. Don't call our children failing or our schools failing if you haven't even tried to invest in them. We believe we can renew our schools if we give them the principals and the teachers and the extra time and the after school and the health care and the mental health services that will transform the schools and make them strong. That's what we'll do. But we need Albany, because for years, all over this state, there are school systems, just like mine in New York City, that have waited for justice to be done. Because the New York State Court of Appeals said almost a decade ago that you can't have an effective education if it isn't funded properly. The New York State of Appeals, the highest court in our state, mandated that education funding be fair to every district, and we are still waiting. That is still a dream deferred in New York State. And it is costing our children and our families. This is a year when Albany has an $8 billion surplus. We can begin to right that wrong this year and invest in our children, and we will look back and be thankful we did, because they'll be strong because we stood by them. Brothers and sisters, I want to thank you for this tremendous honor. I want to thank you for all you do for all the communities of this state. We need your efforts to keep moving towards a more just and fair society. It is what history demands of us, and we will keep moving forward. Stay that course for fairness and justice for all. Muchísimas gracias y que Dios les bendiga. Muchas gracias.